What is up, everybody? Tony here, and we've got some new Red Dead stuff to talk about. I've watched that new trailer like 20 times since it was released, and I have a lot to say about the game. So let's get right into it. I'm not going to break this trailer down frame by frame and point out a bunch of little things, like the horse's drool, but I'm going to give my updated impressions on the game, what we know so far, what we've learned from the trailer, and give my thoughts on the responses I've seen all over the internet. So let's go.
Number 1, the visuals.
The trailer consisted entirely of what seemed to be cutscenes from the game, from within the game's actual engine, so like pre-mission cutscenes. Unfortunately, we got no real gameplay in the trailer, but nonetheless, we got a very good look at the game from in-engine, and I think it looks phenomenal, honestly. Just look at some of these shots here. They look mind-blowingly good for an open-world game. Like usual, Rockstar's first-class art direction shines through. While I wouldn't call it the best-looking game ever, I still think presentation-wise, the game came off very well in this short trailer. From the graphics, to the art, to the realism in the characters' facial animations. It's also interesting to note that this trailer was seemingly recorded off a base PS4, so this isn't even the best the game will look come launch, since the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro versions of the game should look noticeably better. On top of that, we're still at least 6 months away from launch, and the visuals of the game here are not representative of the final version. Now, even though we've seen visuals downgraded from pre-release to release, there's also many scenarios where the final version looks better than the version we see in trailers thanks to stuff like final polish on the game's graphics. We'll just have to wait and see. The game looks much better than GTA 5, as you'd probably expect. In my opinion, GTA 5 on PC is still one of the prettiest games out there today, but Red Dead Redemption 2's visuals completely blow it away, as it should. Let's just look at some screenshots side by side here. Look at the detail in the environment for Red Dead 2, the smoke, the skybox, the fog, and now compare that to this shot of Mount Chiliad in GTA 5. The difference is pretty staggering. Next, let's quickly compare the look of faces and characters. Again, Red Dead shines when it comes to facial animation and character models. There's just another level of detail here that you can only get with a new generation of hardware. Here's another shot I found striking, this time in a city. It definitely looks like a lot more time and care was put into the design of cities in this game. Just look at like the verticality. It looks freaking sweet, bruh. I would expect no less from Rockstar's true debut on the current generation of consoles.
Number 2, the main protagonist.
So most of the new information given to us about the game through this trailer was implicit rather than explicit, which means you may have to slow down the trailer and really look for some of the cool details, or do some work on Google to understand what exactly is going on here. However, some new details were explicitly stated both in the trailer itself and in the video description for the trailer from Rockstar. The description itself reads, "The all-new trailer for Red Dead Redemption 2, the story of outlaw Arthur Morgan and the Vanderlyn gang as they rob, fight, and steal their way across the vast and rugged heart of America in order to survive." One of the most important details in here is the name of our main protagonist, Arthur Morgan. But does that mean Red Dead Redemption 2 will do away with the multiple protagonist gameplay from GTA 5?
Number 3, multiple protagonists. Question mark?
One of the big discussion points since the release of the original key art was whether or not Red Dead 2 would have multiple protagonists like Grand Theft Auto 5. Some have even suggested the wild idea that the game would be multiplayer focused, giving players control of all 7 of the characters you see here. While we can't answer that question definitively after this trailer, I'm personally leaning towards a single protagonist, and here's why. They only mentioned one character in the description of the video. With the game just months away from launch, I do think they would have taken this opportunity to clearly tell us that there are multiple protagonists if that was the case. Nonetheless, there still has been a lot of speculation about these two characters in particular being playable in addition to Arthur Morgan. Are these two also a part of the Van der Linde gang? Perhaps Arthur leaves the gang at some point during the story and teams up with these other characters to take the gang down. Again, we don't know for sure, but personally I enjoyed the multiple protagonist system from GTA 5. I loved taking control of 3 different characters, and that allowed for 3 different stories to be told. If they let us play as a white traditional cowboy in Dutch's gang, and a native character and a woman character, that's even more of a radical difference between each character. That could be really cool, I think. Or they could just be characters that aren't playable at all, who knows? But anyway, speaking of Dutch...
Number 4, Dutch and his gang. Implications on Red Dead Redemption 2's story and gameplay.
Perhaps the biggest reveal of this trailer was the return of Dutch and his Van der Linde gang. To quickly catch all of you up, the Van der Linde gang played a crucial part in the story of the original Red Dead Redemption. This was the gang John Marston was part of, as well as his wife Abigail. The original Red Dead Redemption had the player hunt down the remaining living members of the Van der Linde gang, Dutch, Bill Williamson, and Javier Escuela, with the Bureau finally taking out John himself at the end of the game. We now have concrete confirmation that this game is a direct prequel to Red Dead Redemption 1, and will tell the story of the Van der Linde gang basically before it goes to shit. The game's ending will likely directly lead into the beginning of Red Dead Redemption 1, perhaps with that infamous bank robbery gone wrong where John Marston was left for dead. Many expected Red Dead Redemption 2 to be a prequel because the original Red Dead Redemption ended in 1911, which is commonly regarded as the death of the old Wild Wild West era. It wouldn't be much of a Western game if World War I was going on at the same time. This is also super intriguing news because ever since Grand Theft Auto 3, Rockstar's big open-world games never directly tied into the story of another. Sure, they took place in the same universe, and occasionally a character from a past title would pop up, but those were more Easter eggs rather than important story characters. In Red Dead Redemption 2, we're getting a direct prequel story to Red Dead Redemption 1, and honestly, I can't imagine a scenario where John Marston himself doesn't play a large role in this game. I personally think this is really awesome that they're not just discarding the first game, and instead they're exploring that backstory further. The first Red Dead Redemption has my favorite story of any Rockstar game, so I have really high expectations for 2's story, and so far the signs are looking good from this trailer. Staying on the topic of Dutch's gang, I predict they will act a lot like the Grove Street gang from San Andreas, and accompany Arthur to various different missions in the game. Also, based on the trailer, we get a quick glimpse of a train heist and a bank robbery, 2 staples of the Western genre. But also, heists have become a staple of Rockstar games in general thanks to GTA 5. And I definitely think that aspect of GTA 5 will show its influence on Red Dead Redemption 2. I think heists will be a major focus in the game for Arthur and the rest of Dutch's gang, and there will probably be a lot of heists playable in the online portion of the game as well. Let's wrap this section up by quickly identifying the characters we see in the key art with the characters we saw from the trailer. Thanks to Wagzilla at GTA Forums for this sexy graphic. So from the key art, we can pretty clearly identify Arthur, Dutch, and Bill Williamson. The figure at the far left definitely looks like John Marston to me, and we also see the native character from the trailer at the far right, leaving us with just 2 more characters that have yet to be revealed. Now here's the big question. If John Marston hunted down all the remaining living members of the gang in Red Dead Redemption 1, then does that mean Arthur and the other new gang members that are introduced in this game are going to die? Well, possibly, but not necessarily. Rockstar could always have these characters just leave the gang at some point during the game, which means they wouldn't be on the Bureau's radar come Red Dead Redemption 1. Or they could fake their death. You know, there's a lot of options here. I don't think all these new characters are just going to drop dead at the end in order to perfectly, cleanly tie into the beginning of Red Dead Redemption 1. Okay, now let's rapid fire some quick points from the trailer.
Number 5, rapid fire.
Here's a shot of some new characters walking through water. I saw some people thinking that swimming is confirmed now, but let's slow down for a second and remember, this is probably a cutscene, so it's not necessarily confirmed that swimming is in the game, but I certainly hope it is, because dying every time you touch water is horrible. One thing I think we could say is confirmed is bow and arrows. Now, I'm no weapons buff or anything, but since this game takes place before the first Red Dead Redemption, I suppose we'll be seeing more old-fashioned weapons than the first game, and bow and arrows certainly qualify. I'm happy to see them in the game, because more variety is always a good thing when it comes to weapons. Now, I just need to wait on confirmation on fire arrows and bomb arrows. Oh my god, it's the bear! Here's another scene that's been getting a lot of discussion. People are taking this as confirmation of dual wielding being possible in the game. Man, do I hope that's true. Dual wielding is just the best shit. The best shit.
I gotta tell you, this is pretty terrific. Yeah.
Okay, now look at this fun scene. Cool guys don't look at explosions. Man, Rockstar really loves this shot in their trailers, eh? Man. Okay, and that's about it for today. If there's anything we can predict from a Rockstar pre-launch marketing campaign, it's that a Red Dead Redemption 2 cover story in Game Informer should be here very soon, followed by our first look at actual real gameplay footage of the game, a little closer to the actual release date. Now, when is the release date? Well, all we know officially is the game will be released in spring 2018. However, the two Red Dead games, Red Dead Revolver and Red Dead Redemption, both came out in May. To keep up with tradition, I'm personally expecting Red Dead Redemption 2 to also have a May release date in 2018, but of course that's not confirmed. So let's wrap it up there. I have a lot more Red Dead Redemption 2 videos planned, including a look at some possible legit leaks that have made their way out there on the internet. So that should be neat. Of course, all that in addition to the usual Dragon Ball and fighting game content on this channel, coming real soon. So thanks so much for watching again, everyone, and take care.